Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Train Simulator Classic, TSC. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Rio Grande Southern 460 from Britkits. Dick Cohen. Figured this would be a decent one to do, considering we got a route now that these fit decently well on. But yeah, I don't know the full history on these locomotives all that much. I do know there are a few, there's just a couple of them that survive. One of them has relatively recently been restored to operation, if I remember correctly. Just kind of a neat one, kind of something different, not so mainstream Rio Grande. But these are a little bit older models, so of course, as always, I do try to be kind on my review with that in mind, but they are older. So parked next to the K27 that comes with this route, these do definitely look their age, but they're not half bad routes. Those of you that like to fiddle with texturing and whatnot, these might be a pretty decent starting point. But yeah, so you will get two locomotives in the pack. You will get one with and one without a snowplow. Otherwise, I don't believe there's any real differences between the two. You'll only get one tender, which is what is behind both of these. For those of you that have experience with Britkits models, you know, you can, whenever you're in the editor placing these down, you can double click on the locomotive and the tender to change your number. You can change the lettering to whatever, but they do come with the Rio Grande Southern lettering right off, so you don't have to go through and try to find it, because that is what the prototype is based on. So I do have both locomotives here. I will not be running both of them. Like I said, to my knowledge, the one and only difference between the two is the snowplow here on the front. But sounds are identical, physics are identical, all that fun stuff. So there's no real reason for me to swap in between the two. But I did make this a non-driver variant, and it does have an interesting little light up here on the smokestack. I don't know if that's the emitter, the smoke emitter, or what, but it's not there on the non-plow variant, but it is definitely here. So right off the bat, kind of a bit of wonkiness. As I said, these are a little bit older. These are most definitely not the most expensive models, but they do have some kind of nice redeemable features. One of the things that I give credit where it's due, rivets. These are not 2D rivets, these are all 3D rivets, which is a nice touch. As I always say, I love when somebody takes the time to do the 3D stuff. Just 2D stuff doesn't do it for me. But yeah, stuff like that. Tender trucks look pretty good. It's really hard to see much with them, though. Like I said, texturing is probably the biggest thing here. The texturing could definitely stand to be upgraded, because this looks dated. Our generator, painfully obvious 2D textures here. There's not a whole lot that goes on with these locomotives. They're pretty simple, pretty basic, so there's not a whole lot of like little minor details to really pick out with them, but there are some kind of wonkinesses going on that most definitely don't stand up to today's standards. So like no valve gear inside. The valve gear hanger here disappears whenever you get up close to look at it. It is here, obviously, and it does move, but 100% disappears whenever you look at it weird. But the actual valve gear inside is not represented. So there's that, and then just kind of some stuff like our drive rods are all 2D. The bolts are all 2D. That's not even a separate object right there. That's all one. So, and of course our plow over here, the front end of the locomotive is most definitely sticking through the plow on one side. I don't know why, but as you can see, it clearly sticks through right there. So, wonkiness there. But, yeah. Now, these are older, like, Railworks 1, Railworks 2 era physics. They're not spot on, they're not perfect, so we'll go ahead and throw that out there. And another thing, these locomotives, just about all of his stuff, I don't know that there's a real way to run them without the F4 HUD. So unfortunately I will be running with the F4 HUD today, because this is your cab. Some of the stuff does function, some stuff doesn't. So like our brakes, throttle, our reverser, all that, the basic stuff does function, but if you're trying to be fireman, it doesn't function. So this is a nice little touch. Our little bag over here with a book for reading. I'm guessing our food. It's kind of a fun little deal. But yeah, and as you can see, externally the cab says one thing, internally is something completely different. So a lot of these early narrow gauge locomotives, a lot of early locomotives in general, but especially with the narrow gauge, the cab would straddle the firebox. So our firebox ought to be way back here, plastered up against the wall, not way up here. So the cab's a pretty loose fit. It's definitely not accurate. Yeah. So start building up our fire while we're sitting here. I like the headlight color. It's nice yellow, no crazy flares or anything. The smoke does kind of do the wonky. You look at it wrong, it's white. Look at it this way, it's black. Idle smoke is not half bad. It does show the little cotton billows, you know, puff, 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 puff. But it's got a nice kind of gradual fade, which I really like that. I don't like the little cotton ball puffs though. I'm not a huge fan of the sparks either. I don't know why our idle model here is sparking like that. Normally whenever you get the sparks from these locomotives, it's when you've got the throttle wide open and the reverser full. Then they'll spark like nobody's business, but just sitting here idling like this, I'm not a huge fan of the sparks. Let's be sure our track here is set so we don't run into anything crazy. Of course, we're on the Rio Grande Southern route, so the basic model doesn't look half bad. Like I said, it's definitely dated, but it doesn't look half bad. It really needs a texture upgrade. It really needs a texture upgrade. Do have functioning marker lights though, as of course, well, I thought we did. They're lit up here. Why don't they work here? Alright. Marker lights don't want to work. Okay. Might be a funkiness with the quote-unquote upgrade, update. I ain't gonna say anything to that. All I'm gonna say is I'm running the normal 64-bit. I'm not running experimental. End of story there. But bell, the bell does function, so that's kind of nice. Does swing. The sound itself is actually not that bad. In all honesty, it's definitely not in sync. The bell sound is not that bad. Of course, our whistle. It's not the worst whistle sound. It's definitely better than what we got with the Rio Grande Southern Route whenever it released. Woof. But it's not a bad whistle sound. You definitely can notice a pop in the loops. But I believe this is in the WAV files, something like that. But you can definitely notice the pop where the loop changes over. But it's not half bad though. Is it correct? Not entirely. I believe that's another one of his more generic whistles. These should have, as you can very clearly see, a single chime. Kind of a hooter. More of a hooter style, but whatever. The short whistle burst. It's not half bad. It can kind of cut off if you get it in a weird spot, but not bad. Brake sounds are not my favorite. Let's see if we have the injector problems that a lot of people seem to be having. No, it looks like it built up. Brakes released. Sitting here on a 3% incline with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars. Might actually be a struggle, now that I think about it. Like I said, these are not powerhouse locomotives by any means necessary. Realistically, you would not. Matter of fact, you see these locomotives paired up a lot. You wouldn't see them alone all that often, especially in their later years, but far from a powerhouse locomotive. Chuff sounds are, they're most definitely out of whack. Of course, our cylinder exhaust here. You know, they start off not half bad, and then they kind of lose that fade that I like right there. I like the fade going on here. Not so much here. We might have to test this out without any cars. Like I said, these do kind of have the more Railworks era physics. They're certainly not the smoke box perfection of you know, build up. They don't have your wild cylinder physics and whatnot. It's just, you know, open throttle, it starts well. But maybe our track will level off enough that we can get some go. Oh. Yeah, the chuff sync is way off. So, for those of you that play with Steam, you know that there should be, normally, there are some weird exceptions, but normally you get 4 chuffs per rotation. We kinda get an average of 2 and 3 on this one, but oh well, I guess. Start pulling our reverser back. Like right now, should be a little bit quicker chuffs, but again, whatever. We do actually have injector steam. It's kind of nice. It does actually run fairly smooth. No real wonky issues. We got our valve gear here that actually does operate. It's just nice. It's got that old sound change where from below 40% the audio level drops like half, and then above 50% what you hear right now. This is a little wonky, but whatever, I guess. Be sure our tracks are set here before we plow into anything wonky. But just let it go for now. We hit a hill and we really struggle. These are certainly not powerful locomotives. Whew. There's the sparks. See if we can get it up to speed. Some speed, anyway. I imagine when we hit that grade right there, we'll struggle again. You know, one can hope. Huh. Thought I had my headlight on. Now it's not there. There it goes. Yeah, I'll probably call it. I hit this 2% grade here and struggle all the way up at 4 miles an hour. I don't think you can lock the wheels or anything, unfortunately. I love that it hisses whenever you set the handbrake. I don't know what's hissing when you set the handbrake, because it shouldn't be doing that, but it does. But anyway, not a long video, fairly short. Like I said, there's not a whole ton to go over with these locomotives. They're pretty basic, pretty simple. But for the price, they're not half bad, and it gives you a proper Rio Grande Southern locomotive that's a little more geared towards the RGS rather than the K27, which, you know, it's not a bad model, but certainly not what I think of when I think of the RGS. So if you're looking for some more RGS specific motive power, this is not a terrible example. Like I said, it's definitely dated, and it could most certainly stand from a facelift. It could highly benefit from a facelift, but it's not too bad. I don't remember exactly how much these are. I remember they're not that expensive. Most of the Britkits models are not that expensive. They are in euros though. So you will have to do the code conversion thing, same as you do with Machine Rails products. For example, you do have to convert to your currency. But these were not all that expensive, so do go check them out. I will be putting the link in the description as usual. But hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.